Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we are here at the Rally for Reason against Antifa and Nazism. And the only reason I have to specify Nazism, because obviously most people are against Nazism, is because if you put on an event right of Mao Zedong in Winnipeg, Antifa will call you a Nazi. No matter what you believe, you're a Nazi unless you believe in seizing the means of production and extorting people on a vast basis. And we are here with a whole bunch of great people who are willing to stand up for freedom of speech in this country, as we are constantly threatened. You put on an event of any kind that's against, some form of collectivism, and somehow you're a Nazi, even though Nazism, National Socialism, is a form of collectivism. I think that it's important that we are able to stand up, because just recently Todd McDougall, who is standing over there, put on an event against state-run media, literally fascist by Mussolini's definition. And when he was out there protesting warmongering propaganda by the state-run media, Antifa decided to show up, call him a fascist, call him a racist, shove him, spit on him, try to push him in traffic, try to pull his pants down, shove his girlfriend around, and stalk him. I mean, they're shouting over him. This is not acceptable. So what we are here to do today is basically stand up to that insanity that's being perpetuated by the media, which seems to get a kick out of this big news story of some damn fascist getting attacked by these so-called good loving people with masks and clubs. So we will see what happens. Antifa might show up, might give us a hard time, and if so, we will do our very best to converse and reason for them. Of course, it is the Rally for Reason. So let's see what happens.
So, my main message today is that we should be able to gather on the sidewalk and have free speech and not be violently attacked and called derogatory terms that we are not, simply for having our own views. I'm pretty sure most of us don't want a communist future or a Nazi future. I think it goes without saying. Nobody wants to be licking boot as their head is crushed underneath the boot. That's what all Nazi dictatorships and communist dictatorships lead to. And we are seeing a renaissance, especially on the communist side, among university students.
We know this. It has been stated by the globalists for decades. So we know that that is why they promote this culture. Anti-free speech, anti-free countries, anti-the-sovereign individual and the sovereign nation. Yes, because they are coming to clean up in the wake of that destruction. And what they will bring forth next is going to be absolutely horrific if you think that you got it bad now. What is it that AntiFa doesn't understand? You think you got it bad now? Just wait. Wait another decade with the world that you guys are trying to give birth to, and you'll go see the velvet glove come off of the iron fist that you are being used as a tool for. You freedom-hating, freedom of speech-hating scum.
Okay, so you two are out here today to represent the LGBT community. Can you go into why you feel passionate about this issue?
I think fascism, communism, it doesn't matter. Gay people are always going to do poorly in either society. They're both totalitarian. They both try to tell you how to live, and I'm not for either of those things.
Absolutely. How about you?
Yeah, historically, communism and Nazis, of course, have not been friendly to the community that I'm a part of. And I'm an active member of the community. I want to fight hate and come with a message of peace, so I just wanted to promote that.
Well, I was wondering, because obviously we've seen in past communist dictatorships, we've seen gay people have been treated terribly, executed, killed, imprisoned, and when you see so many people from the LGBT community support, say, these Antifa groups that are waving communist flags, what do you think?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, even Hitler had gay people in his in the original Nazi party. He had them killed off during the Night of the Long Knives. It's the same idea. They're just using them to promote their platform among people because it's popular at the moment.
Well, you said that you were an active part of the community. do you ever have these conversations with your friends and be like, are they blind, or are they just, you know, latching onto a trend? What do you think?
I think it's almost like this social justice warrior trend. They just want to go so far left that they are blind and very ignorant. I have had conversations and lost many friends. It doesn't ever end up as a peaceful conversation. There's a lot of threatening, insulting, and a few friendships have ended because of that.
It's really unfortunate, because I think that this should be an issue that's also spearheaded by the LGBT community. I mean, it's something where obviously Nazism and communism have been incredibly destructive to that community over time, and it's sad to see so many people waving the rainbow flags at an event where it's side by side with, you know, a hammer and a sickle. It's mind-boggling to me, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I really thank you for, I think it's brave, really, because a lot of these people say that they are brave for standing up against these fascists when they are just, you know, standing up against people who have their own opinions. Yeah. I think this is brave, guys. So I really appreciate you guys coming out, and thank you for talking with us. All right, so there we have it. Antifa didn't show up. I can't say I'm disappointed. It's nice to not get punched in the face for something that you are not. I think it's awfully funny that for weeks they were calling me a Nazi. They were threatening violence against me. You know, real hate speech, actually imminent threat of violence. And I was getting my family threatened and so on and so forth. And I'm really happy to see that people of diverse backgrounds came out. They spoke their minds, and we, for once, weren't attacked or punched in the face or shoved around or spit on by a real hate group, someone waving communist flags and calling for a vast collective order that would oppress all individuals. And I'd like to actually ask Todd over here. Todd? So, how do you think the event went today?
Oh, you know what? Even though we could sit back and say, oh, it seemed like a bit of a smaller turnout, no, not at all. I think it was certainly a success, where we didn't have any need, or this environment did not turn into a big confusing debacle. It was not two violent sides. It was conversation. It was bringing different ideas and different people and different backgrounds together. It was the availability to speak some of these, I guess, alternative viewpoints of, you know, what is the reality of fascism and communism and socialism? What is, you know, what are our platforms here on alternative media really about? And what can we do? How can we help people? What is the mainstream media and the real establishment doing to create this divide? We can have that conversation. We had that conversation. We were able to get it out and speak about it today without being labeled, name-called, called racist, and having to deal with a whole bunch of junk that is actually fascist in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that the media, despite their efforts, couldn't incite a riot, because we were watching, recently I was interviewed by the Winnipeg Free Press, and they have a readership of about 473,000 people a week. And it's interesting because I did a whole interview with them, and they asked me about why I hate communism, as if it isn't obvious, why I hate Nazism, as if it isn't obvious, only for them to only print the part about how I'm against communism and nothing about Nazism, while putting a picture at the top of the article showing people holding Ted Cruz signs and guns. Yeah. They did their best to frame us as fascists, despite protesting against fascism and Nazism and communism and violent thug collective groups that go out and beat up anyone they disagree with. As I said, anyone right of Mao Zedong. So I think it was rather successful in that sense, because it shows that the mainstream media is losing their power as independent media grows. That's right. People look things up for themselves, see that we aren't a hate rally, despite some of the posters that went up around the city of Winnipeg saying, telling people to come and confront a hate rally. I think it shows that people might actually be starting to actually look things up. We actually saw a few people show up that are kind of associated with Antifa, which I'm not going to mention their names, but they themselves were annoyed that there's a bunch of, you know, trust fund white kids from university trying to speak for them as Indigenous people. And I think that that goes to show that they are breaking apart by the seams, and it always comes back to the individual. And we have to keep bringing it back to the individual and not allow the vast collective order to take over and run rampant, because if we are divided, that's exactly what the establishment wants. They want us infighting instead of fighting the real enemy, and that is the collective coercion of the individual and the divide and conquer methods that we see the establishment media and the government try and pull off on a daily basis. So we will see if they will continue to come out and attack people. They probably will, but we hope to be there to shut them down and tell them, look, you don't have to be a Nazi to be against communism. You don't have to be a Nazi to be against quote-unquote anarcho-communism, which is an oxymoron. You don't have to be a Nazi to feel pride in yourself as an individual speaking out against a vast collective of violent thugs. We aren't UC Berkeley yet.
Yeah, no, yeah, well said. Even like, you know, the city reporter there, although of course we thank her for coming out, and I'm not going to say that she did some sort of horrible job, although of course we don't know how things are going to come out in the wash, but even one of her first questions to me had to be, but when Antifa has to take down the Nazis, shouldn't they be allowed to do so? Basically, you know, trying to say that once again, you know, as they claim, right, no safe space for hate, meaning you got to push people out, you got to push people around, you have to attack another group's freedom of speech to have any kind of win, which isn't intelligent. It's never got anybody in any free society anywhere, and we sorry guys, but we know that the power structure is always going to stand to gain. The real establishment that I guess Antifa still thinks that they must be fighting are the only ones that stand to gain if you want to go around and say that my vehicle for change involves taking away your freedom of speech and pushing you around because that's what everybody's told me I have to do to you.
Absolutely, and just finishing it off, a real threat that we see on a daily basis at events in Canada are communist flags. Now, I want to ask my cameraman to pan around to the street and see if he could see any Nazis, because I don't, no, that's not, nope. Maybe, no,
no Nazi there.
Not over there.
Nope.
That could, no, she doesn't look like a Nazi.
Well, there might be a few down at the Mason Lodge.
There might be. So, yeah, there are real Nazis, but there are very few of them. There are a ton of communists, and I think if there's going to be anything that we should be protesting about as an imminent danger, it's communism in this country, socialism, and the collective coercion of free individuals. Because I'm looking around and I see tumbleweeds. I do not see any Nazis around, and there's a much more imminent threat of being violently attacked for being, you know, as I said, right a Mao Zedong than there is for being a communist when, you know, we have scumbag Trudeau walking around, you know, jumping around in communist parades and, you know, supporting that order. So to finish it off, I really appreciate everyone that's come out today. People are heading out, going home, and I think it was overall successful because we got our point across. Whether people listen, well, that's up to you. Thanks, Todd. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and Todd McDougall signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Now to sound like an auctioneer. Thanks for watching, everyone. Check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube as they bring in the Anti-Defamation League to flag all of our content as hate speech. Also check our Bitcoin address in the description in the comments, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And don't forget to check me out at Josh Sigurdson at Steemit.com. That's Steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid via cryptocurrency, Steem that is, by the upvote and demand of your post. It's bound to take out the dinosaur social media, so I hope to see you there. But until next time, check out this word from our sponsor.
Are you looking to exchange a large amount of US dollars? Don't overpay with the bank on currency exchange. Think outside the bank. Banks charge unnecessary fees of up to 3%. Truth be told, currency exchange with the bank will cost you hundreds to thousands of dollars. Start saving now. Step 1. Register online. Visit our website and click Get Started. Step 2. Book a transaction. Phone us for a quote and to complete the transaction. We'll need to know which currencies you are converting and how much. Step 3. Transfer of funds. Once you confirm the transaction, we initiate an electronic funds transfer from the account that you choose. Your purchased funds are then transferred back to you in the account that you choose within 1 business day. It's that easy. Start saving hundreds of dollars on currency exchange with CBCE. Sign up online or give us a call today.